It's time to do one of my favorite segments, crazy ass moments in American politics, inspired by the Twitter account that happens to have that same name. Today we're talking about the presidency of George W. Bush. It wasn't so long ago, so fairly recent history. And so without further ado, let's jump in. Now, for those of you who might be too young to remember, there were many crazy ass moments in American politics during the George Bush administration. One of the craziest moments was when someone threw not one, but two shoes at the former president as he was addressing the media. Let's take a quick look at that. Okay, so the video is, let's keep it real, funny. The story behind it, not so funny. But before we get to the story behind it, Dr. Ritchie, am I a bad person for admitting that it was impressive that he was able to dodge both of those shoes? Like, that was the most impressive thing George Bush has ever done in his entire life.
My dear sister, let me tell you something. I remember when this happened and I said, well, damn, that's a dope ass moment, right? When Bush, I was kind of proud, a little bit. I said, look at him, right? So I remember when this went down, obviously it was an extremely publicized moment for those who lived during the political era. And the irony of it is that when the president of that time, George W. Bush, was asked about it, he kind of respected what the guy did. He said, hey, it's one way to get attention. And I say this, I'm not mad at him, I'm paraphrasing. He said, it got you talking about it. I don't know what the guy's movement is about, but you're asking me questions about it. So I guess he proved his point, right? So it was a way to get attention, obviously. To my understanding, the individual that threw the shoes, he did get arrested, but became a hero to his community and to many in America by extension.
Oh, for sure. And so let's get into the context. What happened? Why did someone throw his shoes at Bush? Well, visiting the country for one last time before he left office, President George Bush joined Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki for a news conference in Baghdad, where he proceeded to argue that the prolonged conflict had been necessary for world peace. That is insane. Obviously, the person throwing the shoes is not the only one who disagrees with that. Now, Muntazir al-Zaidi is the journalist and also the man who threw the shoes. So this is a gift from the Iraqis. This is a farewell kiss, you dog, the journalist shouted in Arabic as he hurled a shoe at Bush. The president ducked, and then I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, but that was when the journalist let his other shoe fly. This is from the widows, the orphans, and those who were killed in Iraq, he yelled. And listen, I obviously, as someone who's very critical of that preemptive war in Iraq that was based on complete false pretenses, I have a lot of empathy for that point of view. Would not carry out, any type of physical act to communicate that, but I am glad that Bush was a good sport about it, I guess. Now, the video made him a hero, the journalist. Thousands of protesters demanded his release from prison, while lawyers worldwide volunteered to represent him for free. The Iraqi government requested an apology from his employer. Instead, his boss said that he was building him a new 4-bedroom house and would be ready in time for his release. That's a great employer. That sounds like something Cenk would do. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that Donald Trump avoided shoes being thrown at him for 4 years?
I know, it is amazing, it really is. I would venture to say that he would not be as good at ducking to avoid the shoes.
Not at all.
Yeah, which is why I kind of wish that someone tried it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't advocate violence, I promise. Now, the journalist's newfound fame also did not save him from prison. So there is some negative parts to this story. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for assaulting a foreign official. After he was released early in September 2009, he said that he had been tortured by guards and senior government officials who beat him with iron bars, administered electric shocks, and left him soaked in cold water overnight. It sounds like what US soldiers did in Gitmo, to be honest. One of his front teeth was also missing. In an op-ed he wrote for The Guardian after his release, he stood by his actions. So he paid the price for it, but he wasn't willing to apologize. As soon as I finished my professional duties in reporting the daily tragedies, while I washed away the remains of the debris of the ruined Iraqi houses or the blood that stained my clothes, I would clench my teeth and make a pledge to our victims, a pledge of vengeance. The opportunity came and I took it. Is it bad? Like, I kind of like, I love that a little bit. Again, I don't want to advocate for violence or anything like that, but it's so rare to come across people these days, especially in America with all the incentives being in the wrong place. Like people who actually have core values, principles, things that they love and will really fight for. Like it's inspiring to see that. Yeah. I love that. I love when I come across people who actually stand for something and care about their community.
100% agree. While we don't advocate for violence, I do advocate for the spirit that was inside of the person.
Exactly.
That spirit said, I don't have influence. I don't have enough power to stop this. I know the truth, and I want the truth to have attention. And I'm going to do something radical that I know is going to get me arrested, and it may get me tortured, but this truth will be told and people will know why I did it. And this professional who did not have political status, nor was he rich, decided to sacrifice his job, his career, his freedom, his connection to family, his money, his reputation, in order to bring attention to the truth. Here's what they don't highlight in the story about this young man. He was right. He was right.
Yep, exactly. And I would regret not ending this with a video of one of Trump's notorious, Freudian slip, I guess. One of Bush's famous Bush-isms. I don't even know what this video is. There's too many to count. Taylor, our wonderful producer, chose it. And so let's take a look at what it is.
There's an old Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
That never gets old.
It never gets old. That one, and my personal favorite is when he announced that Mandela was dead, when Mandela certainly was not dead. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Oh yes. My, someone came up to me the other day and said, where's Mandela? And I told him, Mandela's dead. Saddam Hussein killed all the Mandelas. I was like, oh my God. And you could tell, like there's a moment where he pauses as he's saying it, because I feel like there's someone in the audience going like, stop talking, no.
Right, and then his brain starts to turn back on. And it's like, oh, did I say that out loud? Yeah, you did.
So bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those were the good old days, Anna. The good old days of dumbass Republican presidents.
Yeah, I mean, look, in terms of like what he did, like his actions under the, in my opinion, leadership of Dick Cheney, it was terrible. I mean, he committed the worst war crimes. American citizens lost so many of their civil liberties, their freedoms, their privacy. It's just awful, awful stuff. The reason why I think we see a lot of these like establishment Democrats like launder his reputation these days is because Trump is so overtly heinous. Whereas like Bush was pretty bad, like terrible and did terrible things, but like put a nice face on it. And so we got to be careful, his fumbles might seem endearing, but beneath that dumbass facade is someone who actually caused a lot of pain and suffering around the world.
Agreed. So yeah, evil policy came from George W. Bush, just like evil policy came from Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.